Perfection. A scorched outpost in the middle of nowhere.
You know how close I am to leaving this place right now? How close?
Maybe that's why Val and Earl decided to leave town.
Hey, hold up. That's Edgar Deans.
They just picked the wrong day to do it.
Jeez. You guys better get the hell out of here. There's a killer on the loose. Who could be doing it?
Is that a snake?
I'll give you boys $5 for this. 20.
That's how they get you. They're under the ground. What the hell are those things? How could they eat a whole station wagon?
But where do they come from?
I vote for outer space. No way these are local boys.
You see, they're headed right for us.
No Richter scale can measure it.
They're coming!
No scientist can explain it.
Bert, they're under the ground.
You didn't get penetration even with the elephant gun.
Run, run!
And no one knows what to call it.
Megaworms or suckers or suckoids.
Now, this valley is just one long smorgasbord.
Now, it's up to Val and Earl to save the world.
That's one big mother.
Who died and made you Einstein?
And they know just what to do. Flip for it.
Damn.
Kevin Bacon, Fred Ward, Tremors.
Welcome to Dorking Out. My name is Sonia Mansfield, and who died and made you Einstein? Joining me is my podcasting sister from another mister and the co-host of Dorking Out, Margo D. Hello, my friend.
Get out of your pants.
I would gladly get out of my pants.
Fucking A.
For Kevin Bacon. It would.
Well, we'll talk in a second. I'm talking about a sandwich there, but
we are dorking out about 1990s Tremors, directed by Ron Underwood, screenplay by S.S. Wilson and Brent Maddock. It stars Kevin Bacon, Fred Ward, Finn Carter, Michael Gross, and Reba McEntire. I will ask you, like I always do, did you see this in the theater?
no, I did not. And that is
You
not
and
my
everyone
fault.
else.
It's not my fault. And it's a brilliant movie. And they should have released this in the summer. I have
Yeah.
no idea why this was released in the middle of January.
I wrote the same thing in my notes. I was like, this is a fucking fail. Like, this should have come out in the summer or in October. Like,
Yeah.
this is not a January movie.
No, and it
It's
should have been, okay, the PR person in me is like, it should have been at drive-ins across the country.
Yeah.
Like there should have been like summer, that kind of thing.
Yeah, they really shit the bed on this one. Like,
They screwed the poop.
they screwed the pooch. It had a budget of like $6 million. It made like 16 million, which I mean is still a profit, but it could have made a lot more.
Yeah.
Because this movie is super fun. And it got good reviews.
Did Calvin see it?
Yes. So I watched it with my 13-year-old and he was into it, y'all. Like, he thought the monsters were gross. He thought like people dying was like, he's like, oh, you know, whatever. Actually, we'll get into there's a character that we totally forget about at one point, and then like he dies. And I was like, oh, I forgot about that guy. And Calvin's all, by character we totally forgot about. Like this really played for the 13-year-old boy in this house. Like,
I think there's a 13-year-old boy in all of us, so this movie plays to that.
yeah, it's the monsters are gross, but the kills aren't gory. There's like swearing. Oh, my kid loves dirty words. He's obsessed with them right now. So he was just saying like damn and shit and fuck a lot.
Mother humper?
Yeah, he didn't say mother humper. But yeah, it really played and we had such a good time watching it. Like, this movie's just super fun. It's fun.
Great. It's a great film. I think I rented it. I think that's like everybody else. I rented this movie and then I kept renting it. It was like a staple. And then I think it must have been on TBS or Comedy Central or something.
There's no doubt in my mind this is like a TBS Sunday afternoon regular movie for people. It played at my movie theater, so I saw it there and I thought it was good. And I remember telling customers when they were coming in, I was like, this movie's really good. And a lot of people aren't coming to see it. You should see it. And people are like, whatever, lady. Like, I want to see Internal Affairs or whatever the fuck they were born on the 4th of July or whatever they were watching. And I was like, okay, well, you're missing out. Tremors is super fun. And this rewatch was super fun. Like, we had such a good time. The plot isn't like super detailed, really. Basically, they live in this small town in Nevada called Perfection, and we meet Val and Earl, and that is Kevin Bacon and Fred Ward.
Who's so sexy in this movie.
Look, I'm not a Fred Ward person.
I am now.
But I am like, oh, hi.
Yeah. Oh, I am now. Especially this, and we talked about big money, what the big business.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
He's in that. Yeah. I saw Remo Williams. I wish we could see that movie.
Oh my God. I remember loving Remo Williams.
I loved Remo Williams. But like, I've never, like, this time I watched it, I'm like, fucking A, that guy is hot.
Yeah. When I saw this in the theater, I've always loved, I love Kevin Bacon. I love him.
Who doesn't?
Like, I love the movies he picks. I think he's a good actor. I think he's very handsome. I follow him on all the social media now. Like, he's a fucking delight if you're not following him on social media. Like,
him and Kira, him and his spouse are perfect.
They're so cute. They're
adorable.
Goals. Yeah, they're adorable. Everybody drink. But they like live on a farm and he's like always like singing to his animals. It's delightful. But now I haven't watched Tremors in a very long time. And watching it now, I was like, oh, hi, Fred Ward. Hi.
Hey, hi.
I'm
the
like,
two of them together, like,
yeah.
When we'll talk about the story and we'll go.
Talk about perfection. Like,
Heyo.
So they are like two like handymen who live in Perfection, Nevada, population 14. It is a tiny little town. And they like work together doing random jobs around the town, and basically some giant worms move in. They are underground, kind of like the dune worms, and they are digging around underground and they're popping up and they're eating people. That's pretty much the plot. Like,
yeah.
I'm like, that's it. Goodbye, everyone. Enjoy the show. No. But it's so fun the way they handle it. There's also a graduate student who's like, the character is Rhonda, and that's Finn Carter. And she is like studying, there's a lot of seismic activity going on and they don't understand it. And it's the worms. And I remember thinking Michael Gross was really funny in this movie when I first saw it. Because if y'all don't know, you didn't watch, he was on Family Ties and he played this like hippie, liberal, kind dad. And in this movie, he is a
gun nut.
Yeah, he's a gun nut and a doomsday prepper.
Like, with Reba McEntire.
Yeah, I don't know if Reba McEntire did a lot of acting before this. I feel like this is one of her
good.
And she's so first of all, we all love Reba McEntire, right? Like she's
a delight.
She's a delight. And she's really good in this too. Like, it's very fun. And they are both these like doomsday preppers who are like obsessed with guns, and they, have a lot of conspiracy theories, but she's just into the weapons just as much as him. And I think it was like such a different way to see Michael Gross back in the day.
That was it. It was unexpected. Yeah. And he's very funny.
He is very funny. And basically everyone in the town is trying to stay alive from these worms. They're like standing on top of rocks and buildings, and the worms are getting smarter. They're like learning as they go. And I don't know. I'm like, I don't even know if we need to like go through beat by beat on this one.
No.
It's not that. It's just
not that kind of movie.
It's like almost like an old fashioned monster movie. Like
it's an old fashioned monster movie from the 50s.
Yes,
it has practical effects. It just lands in the middle of the action. You kind of there's not this long preamble. We meet these characters right away. They want to leave. They both like they're low end jobs. They barely make any money. They're going to go someplace else, and they discover a mutual friend of theirs who's up this tower,
Yeah.
and they think he's like the town drunk.
Yeah.
And
They're
so they
like,
think
damn,
he's on a
so
bender.
drunk.
Right? He's so drunk he's sleeping 50 feet in the air. So Kevin climbs up and gets him and realizes he's dead, and they bring him. I don't know how guess they just shoved him down, but
Yeah. I
they.
don't know.
I don't know how they did that, but anyway, so they find it. So they're figuring out how the guy died because they said he
They said,
thirsty.
yeah, they
died of
said he was,
thirst?
yeah, dehydrated. He died of dehydration.
And he's in a desert. So
Yeah.
okay, but it's weird. And then they have Rhonda, who's the grad, and I love they have a grad student. It's like Ellie from Jurassic Park.
Totally.
I mean, and they have her in sensible shorts, and she's got the zinc oxide on her nose, and she's just adorable.
She's adorable. Everybody
drank. Like nowadays, they'd have her in a little hoochie outfit, but I mean,
for sure, those shorts would be so short.
so short. I was just kind of like, oh, that's like actually a smart, sensible decision that they're doing with her. But she's discovering there's all this seismic activity, and she's trying to wonder, is it an earthquake? What's going on? But it's worms that are under the ground. And there's this lovely couple we meet who are,
Yeah, they're so sweet.
oh my God. And they're going to move there, and they're going to start over their lives, right? They're building their dream home.
Yeah.
And it reminded me, this is what gets to me, because it reminded my parents who moved
Aww.
to Nevada, and they built their dream home by the mountains.
Aww.
Yeah. This didn't happen to them. They were fine, but they, thankfully, but it's so old fashioned. Like they're in a station wagon.
Yeah.
But he gets gobbled first, and it's horrible because she's trying to help him, and he's getting sucked out, and then she jumps into the car, and then the like what Sonia said, like the worms are getting smarter. They're just figuring things out to get you. And so they drag her car down, and the way the lights go out into the desert, it's really amazing use of location.
It is, and it's really creepy, and it's really sad. Like they do a good job of establishing that these are good, kind people right away. And
she was the mom in Betsy's wedding.
Oh, that's right.
I know.
Margo is Betsy's wedding's biggest fan.
I am the biggest fan of Betsy's wedding. It's a good movie.
It is a good movie. We did an episode on it.
Yeah.
But, and then for Val and Earl they discover the car because they can like hear the music is still playing, but it's like underground. It's really well done.
Yeah.
That scene. And I felt bad for them. And they're trying to warn everybody that this is happening. And then we have, I'm going to look up his name because I didn't write it in my notes. I want to say Victor Wong as Walter Chang, the guy who owns the local market. And like everyone's hanging out in his store. And at some point they get a hold of like one of the worms, like one of the little smaller versions of the worm. It holds on to their car, and they're trying to drive, and they end up like ripping its head off or something. And then the shop owner is like, this is a great opportunity for me to make money. And he's like got the worm like on a rocking chair or something, and people are supposed to take their picture with the worm. No one's ever going to come to this town now because it's going to be like underground from the worms. But they are all hiding in his store, but eventually the worms figure out where they are. Because even when they're quiet, they feel the vibrations of everything. So there's a lot of jumping on rooftops, but they start digging under buildings and like pulling them down. And I love that they show the worms just enough. Not like Jaws, right? Like
right. I mean, because once again, it's practical effects. If this were a sci-fi movie from the Sci-Fi Network, like 10 years later, it would all be CGI, and it would be dumb. It's super scary the way they do it.
It is super scary. And again, it played for the 13-year-old in this house. He was just like, he's like, no way, damn. shit, I wouldn't go to that town. That's that's my 13-year-old. But like he was watching it and thinking, he's like, what would I do? Would I get up on the roof? He's like, how fast can I run? Like he had a really good time, like imagining what he would do in this situation. And I think I know what would happen to me. I would be one of the first people eaten.
Yeah, me too.
I run really slow, and I am very loud and make a lot of noise. So they would find me pretty quick.
You just see Sonia's glasses and one of her saddle shoes just
That's it. Just
laying on the side. And I'd be crying.
She's gone now. Like Calvin actually could run really fast. He could probably get away, but your girl wouldn't make it. I'd be one of those people that twists her ankle like 5 seconds into the run and gets eaten. But as Calvin pointed out, the Michael Gross character, kind of a lot like my dad. He's like, we could go to Grandpa's house. It's like totes. all the guns.
And he would have them all mounted on the walls too. He's a big time hunter, her dad.
Yeah.
Big game hunter.
He does keep them in a gun safe, but Calvin is not wrong. There are a lot of guns in that house, but at least he locks them up. So anyway, there is just a lot of good stuff in this movie. I love when the worms go into Michael Gross and Reba McEntire's like rec room. They come through the wall, and of course they have this whole wall of guns, and they're just like trying to decide what guns are going to do the best, and they're just, they shoot them until they explode. And then he makes a bunch of pipe bombs, and I think someone asks him like what's in there, and he says your usual household chemicals at an appropriate amount or something like that. And he like makes these bombs that they use kind of to go fishing almost. They like throw the bombs on a rope and move them so the worms feel the vibration and eat the bombs, and they explode. And it's really fucking gross. Like the worms are gross.
Yeah, a lot of goo.
Yeah, a lot of goo in this movie. But like a comical kind of gross, not a I'm gonna throw up now kind of gross.
Oh yeah, no. It's fine. It's a comical level. And I loved the character of Rhonda. I love how smart she is.
Yes.
And she's just resourceful. And they don't make her like, I love Fred Ward's like, your kind of girl is like, ooh, I broke a nail.
Yes,
she's
exactly.
not like that.
No,
Yeah.
She's not that kind of girl. She's really smart. She's just as capable as these dopes. Actually, she's more capable than those.
Oh yeah,
dopes.
she does the pole vaulting. That's her idea.
Yeah, she's a smarty, and we love a smart character. So I like that. It's kind of silly that they try to make her romantic interest for Kevin Bacon, but you have to.
Well, come on, it's Kevin Bacon. She wants to make out with him, if nothing else.
She wants to make out with both those dudes.
And I don't blame her.
I don't blame her either. Like all three of them should get in that pickup truck together, and
that's what I was thinking. There'll be a throuple.
Yeah, I would join that throuple.
I would totally follow their adventures.
I'm like, I know there's like 5 sequels, but I'm sure none of them are about their throuple, which is the only sequel I want to see.
I haven't seen any of the sequels.
No.
So I don't know what happens. Does Kevin Bacon appear in any of them? Or
I don't know. I think Michael Gross shows up for some of them.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So I wrote them out here. We have Tremors 2 Aftershocks. Then we have Tremors 3 Back to Perfection. Tremors 4 The Legend Begins. No, The Legend already began in 90, but that's cool. And then we have Tremors 5 Bloodlines. I'm like, that's kind of a serious name for a movie that's not. And then Tremors, A Cold Day in Hell. And then there was another one called Tremors, Shrieker Island.
Okay.
And then the Sci-Fi Channel picked it up and made a Tremors series that had a pilot episode and nothing else. So it was called Tremors the series. It was just a pilot. I guess.
It's funny because it's a razor thin plot. I mean, there's not a lot that
Yeah.
happens.
I'm
It's
like,
just
I love that they try to build up all this lore. I'm like, ugh,
it's just
that's
earthworms.
Yeah.
It's just psychotic earthworms.
okay. So Tremors 2 Aftershocks actually has Fred Ward
Oh,
and Michael Gross. Okay.
okay. I might watch it. I might
All
watch
right.
it.
And then let me see. Let's go to Tremors 3. Who's in Tremors 3? Just Michael Gross.
He's got bills like everybody else.
Yes, he does. No judging. No judging.
Yeah.
Tremors 4.
He loves the character. I saw a documentary about the making of the movie, and he loves this movie. Like he's like a total fan favorite.
He must be in all of them because he's in 4. Let's see, is he in 5? He's not in 5. Oh, he is in 5.
Wow.
And 5 also stars Jamie Kennedy.
He was in the okay. I was wondering why Jamie Kennedy was in this documentary. I'm like, what
There
the hell
you
is that guy
go.
doing here? Okay.
And then we have Tremors 6, Michael Gross and Jamie Kennedy again. So Michael Gross is in all of these.
I
look at
hope he
what about
has a
Spreaker?
house in Hawaii.
He must. Oh my God. And then this like Tremor 7 has Michael Gross and John Heater from Napoleon Dynamite.
Oh, wow.
All right. And then who's in the series? Let's see. Michael Gross is in this series. He's in all of them.
What would we do, baby, without us? That was the theme too. Family Ties.
Without Tremors.
Without Tremors. Like that and the money he got from the syndication for Family Ties. I'm sure he's sitting on a pile of money.
He absolutely.
And he deserves it.
Yeah. I'm fine with this, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, good for him, man. And look, if they made all of these, there's clearly an audience for them.
Well, it's fun. It's a super fun movie. It's got like you said, like you have your heroes and you have your people you root for. And it's what I liked about, they explain the it's Ron, what was the director's name? I'm sorry, Underwood?
Ron Underwood.
He was saying like the difference between this movie that changed everything is that they filmed everything outdoors, like the total light of day, mostly these attacks,
right?
Which normally in scary movies, they put everything in the dark because especially if you have practical effects, it's easier to hide things. So it was really challenging to make this worthwhile, like make it look worthwhile. They were, hundreds of miles away from Los Angeles. They really were out in the desert. Kira Sedgwick was 9 months pregnant when they were filming.
I read that.
Yeah. And they had one telephone on set that got out there, and that was just an emergency. It was like a bat phone for Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
And when she gave birth, they were doing that scene when they were on the Coke can, like the one of the explosion scenes. But the funny story is somebody said that Kira Sedgwick all her life wanted to name her first child Macon because it's a family name. I think she's from the South.
Yeah.
And Kevin Bacon would walk right over and goes, I'm not calling my kid Macon Bacon. Which makes me laugh.
Is this their daughter Sosie?
I wonder, is Sosie the first one?
Maybe. I'm not sure. I'm
gotta look it up.
Yeah, I'm looking her up right now. Let's see. Because she was in the movie Smile, which I just watched this past week. Oh, okay. Sosie's the daughter. Sorry. My apologies, everybody.
Okay.
He has a son. But that's scary to be like out in the middle of nowhere and your wife is that pregnant. Like, that's nerve-wracking.
Yeah, that was the whole thing. And it seems like the crew really was close.
They must be, right? Because it probably wasn't a very big crew. They're filming out in the middle of nowhere. Travis.
Keep going.
Travis.
Keep going. Travis. When was Travis born?
89.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yes.
Is he an actor?
He goes by Travis Sedgwick.
Oh, that's from Kira Sedgwick.
Yeah. Oh no, he goes by Travis Bacon.
Travis Bacon. He's 35.
And he's a musician.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Black Anvil since 2017. Hey, we did this.
We figured it out.
All right, making bacon.
Well, I had the
35. Jesus, you and I are old.
I know. I had the daughter in my mind because I watched Smile last week and she's the star of that. And
We'll talk about what we're talking about.
yes, we will. In fact, I wrote it down. But Tremors is super fun. It's on Peacock. If you're looking for like a fun little Halloween romp, I think this is very appropriate for that.
It's great. It's really fun. It's 90 minutes of fun.
I thought so too. And like I said, it played well here. And me trying to lure that 13-year-old boy out of his room to watch things with me, I fail a lot, but Tremors really killed. So I was very, very pleased with that one. Do you have a favorite character?
Fred Ward.
Yeah, actually, Fred Ward was my favorite too.
Yeah.
When I first saw it, definitely the Michael Gross character was my favorite. But now I just like a nice
Fred Ward is so good in this movie.
Yeah.
Like he's so present in every single scene and he's so believable. He's just always, and he's so funny.
Yep. I
And
love him.
he's great.
He's
one of the
those
greats.
people. Always good in everything that he does. We like him. Do you want to hear about some other 1990 movies?
You know I do.
I know you do. I think we should put this one on the list. Bad Influence. Do you know this movie?
What was Bad Influence? I know the title. I'm not
It
remembering.
is James Spader and Rob Lowe.
Oh, because Lowe was Fred Ward died in 2022.
What?
79.
Holy
Oh,
I didn't know that.
fuck.
Oh.
Oh, the right stuff. That was Gus Grissom. Oh,
Yeah.
damn it.
By the way, these pictures of him, look when he's looking older, he could still have all this.
Yeah. He was hot.
I'm like,
With apologies to the Fred Ward family.
Yeah, sorry, but
Sorry, but he was hot.
So Bad Influence came out after I think the sex tape scandal for
Yeah,
Rob Lowe.
exactly.
So he's actually the villain and James Spader's like the good guy, which is weird, but I have a feeling that movie is bananas and we should watch it because I love a 90s thriller.
Yeah.
More movies. The Hunt for Red October.
Never seen it.
I
know.
It's a total
Everybody loves it.
It's a total dude movie. It's one of those movies
Yeah,
that
I think
dudes
that's
super
what it
love.
is. Yeah.
It's like a dad movie, I guess would be a good way to describe. I like the Hunt for Red October, but
Okay.
it's that Patriot Games, Clear and Present Danger, total dad movies.
Yeah, they don't interest me, but yeah, you're right. My dad
Yeah.
would have totally been in on that. Yeah.
There was a movie of The Handmaid's Tale.
No, there wasn't.
Yes. With Natasha Richardson in the
R.I.P.
I know. I haven't seen it, but now that I know it exists, I'm kind of curious.
I'm going to wait till after the election.
Good call. Well, I mean, it's still Scary Movie Month, Margo. So
Doesn't mean I fucking terrify myself till 2 in the morning. Yeah.
I picked a couple. Blue Steel. Did you ever
Jamie
see that
Lee
one?
Curtis.
Yeah. Directed by Catherine Bigelow. I remember liking that one.
It's intense.
Yeah. The Exorcist 3.
It has the best jump scare of any movie of all time.
Somebody recently just shared a screenshot of just that scene, and I was like, bah! It's a good one. If you haven't seen, don't let Exorcist 2 throw you off. Just go right to Exorcist 3. It's good.
Yeah.
The Witches.
Yeah, we did that for Book versus Movie. Roald Dahl.
Okay, people love The Witches, and I've never seen it.
It's okay. It's good. It's not. Anyway.
Okay. Jacob's Ladder.
That's a freaky fucking movie.
So freaky. It's really Tim Robbins is really, really good in that movie, and it's freaky.
It's very hard to describe to people because it's all like an acid trip, basically.
Yeah, it's weird. I like it. I should watch it again. Marked for Death.
Is that a Steven Seagal?
So we had the trailer for that movie in front of like a whole bunch of movies at the movie theater I worked at, and it was always like Steven Seagal is marked for death. There's like all of his movies were like that. Steven Seagal is hard to kill. Steven Seagal is under siege.
He's a monosyllabic fool.
He is.
He talks like this all the time, like a whisper.
He's a creep.
Yeah. And a Russian accent. Thank you. Thank you, Putin. He sounds like Lisa Barlow.
I love that.
I love that. I'm calling the cops. I'm calling the cops on you right now.
We will definitely be.
We will definitely go into Housewives of Salt Lake City.
We will. 2 more movies. White Palace.
Yes, that's a sexy one.
Yeah, James Spader again with Susan Sarandon, and then Reversal of Fortune.
Oh, that's a real fun treat.
Good time.
It's a fun. We'll definitely do that for What a Creep one day, but
yeah,
it's kind of infuriating.
I believe we've gotten a request for this movie before too, so maybe when we do Creep, we'll do Reversal of Fortune and Dorking Out and time them together. That would be fun.
Are you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. So you want to hear the top 10 songs? It was mid-January 1990.
Yeah, of course.
It brought back some memories for me. Ooh, boy. Number 10, Tesla, Love Story. Love Song, excuse me.
Yes.
Tesla was a band, like a hair metal band.
This was their ballad.
That was their ballad, and I loved it.
Yeah, everybody did. It was a huge hit.
Yeah. And number 9, Seduction. It takes 2 to make a thing go right.
That song's dope.
I want to drop right now. Oh, it's damn. Number 8, Tom Petty, R.I.P. again. Free Fallin'.
I love Tom Petty. I don't particularly love this song, but I do.
Really?
I love Tom Petty.
I love this song. Okay. Number 7, Lou Gramm, Just Between You and Me. I don't remember it.
Oh, maybe if I heard it, I would be like, oh yeah, that. But that I wasn't a Lou Gramm person.
I did like Midnight Blue. Anyway,
yeah, that's right.
And he also did the Lost Boys soundtrack.
Well,
stay on through the night.
I mean that. Come on, that's dope.
Number 6. Speaking of dope, Sonia, Janet Jackson, Rhythm Nation.
Love Janet Jackson. Was all in.
I was
all the
totally
things.
in. Yeah. Number 5, Rod Stewart, Downtown Train. This is when Rod went really middle of the road.
Yeah, this is when like everyone's parents were like, "I love Rod Stewart." And you're like, okay.
He does those standards. You're like, "Oh Christ, Rod, what happened?"
This old heart of mine's been broke 1,000 times.
No, thank you.
Remaking all of these songs. Nah.
I don't know this. Jody Watley, Everything.
I love Jody Watley. I don't know that song.
I don't know this song. I know I loved her too. Anyway, here's a fun one. Number 3, Phil Collins, Another Day in Paradise.
They made, I swear to God, they must have made a whole album of just stone cold bummers.
Yeah.
And it was
Phil
like
Collins
this
had a bummer
one,
album.
He had one called this You're No Son of Mine.
Yep.
Fucking bummer. Like, what was the other one? There was a couple of them. They're all just like fucking bummer songs.
Yeah. And I like Phil Collins, but I'm just the shit I can't do.
Yeah.
I can't abide. Number 2, sorry, Phil. Number 2, Tektronic featuring Fele, Pump Up the Jam.
Oh, yeah.
Pump up the jam.
Pump it up. Yeah.
And then number 1, my late mother, Rose Donahue, was one of those who loved this song. Michael Bolton, How Am I Supposed to Live Without You?
That no talent ass clown. No, I'm kidding.
Why should I quit? Why should I change my name? He's the one that sucks.
Let me tell a Michael Bolton story. So when I worked at the movie theater, we had CDs that played in between the movies, and the manager or whatever, one of the theaters played Michael Bolton, like this album. So I listened to Michael Bolton like all day. And my friend Amanda and I used to sing the songs all the time, like as a joke, kind of, when we were like at her house. And her mom thought that we super loved Michael Bolton. So like she bought us concert tickets for all three of us to go see Michael Bolton and Kenny G.
I cannot. Was it Concord Pavilion? Was that?
No, it was at the Shoreline, which was even worse. 'Cause
Shoreline?
I fucking hate the Shoreline. I hate
It's
it.
such a fucking schlep, y'all. If you don't know this, this
Yeah.
is Bay Area talk. The Shoreline is such a hassle to get to, and
It's a pain
also,
in the ass and smelly.
and smelly, and it's hard to find a spot. It's like outdoors.
You can never find your car afterwards.
It takes forever to get home. It's
It's the worst.
it's the worst. But I've seen some of the
Yeah.
best shows there. That's what's kind of funny.
That's
Not
true,
Michael
too.
Bolton.
No, he's fine. So strangely, he opened and Kenny G was the main act.
Kenny G was popular in
Yes,
1990.
so popular.
He really had a thing going.
Yeah. So we had lawn seats. So we were sitting on the lawn. I made it through Michael Bolton. I fell asleep almost instantly. And Kenny G. Like, I remember him coming out and then they woke me when it was over. Like, I fell asleep. Like, it just put me right to sleep. And my friend and I, we really tried to pretend that we were into it for her mom. We didn't want to hurt her feelings, but I think I gave up the game when I fell asleep.
I think you snoring in the middle of his set.
And
Probably
rolling
was
back
the
and forth,
clue.
going, boring, boring.
Yeah, that Homer Simpson in a circle. Just so bored.
I was so bored. And we weren't old enough to drink yet. So it's like we couldn't even like have a beer or anything.
Or you couldn't,
No.
smoke weed or anything. No.
Nothing. And we were with someone
I've seen
with
the
our
Dead
mom,
there.
So yeah.
I've seen the Dead there a few times. Phil Lesh, by the way, R.I.P.
Yeah, R.I.P.
And it was so much fun because their shows were like hours and hours, but the people watching at a Dead show,
I bet it's epic.
perfection. Oh, and it would be all these Silicon Valley guys would show up and they rip off their white, the white button shirts back then.
Yep.
They're more business casual now. Back then, but they would they rip them off like animals and then wrap their ties around their heads and dance around like maniacs. It was so much fun.
I've never been to a Dead show, but
Oh,
I've heard all about them from others, and yeah, it's a whole thing.
it's an experience.
Yeah, there's a little bit of crossover with like Grateful Dead and the Dave Matthews Band people.
Yes.
And I was really into the Dave Matthews. I still love the Dave Matthews Band, but like I was really into them and I would see them all the time and they played Shoreline all the time. So I'd haul my ass out to the Shoreline and there would be a lot of like Deadhead people there. Like
that and at Fish shows.
yes, I heard that about Fish as well.
Yeah, my friend is an acrobat, and she used to Fish used to have a New Year's Eve show at Madison Square Garden, and she would flip around in the ceiling, up from the ceiling, in like this prism. Yeah, she had the most amazing body. Like she could just, she was incredible. But yeah, she used to do that for New Year's Eve every year.
Wow.
But yeah, like once again, the people watching is just that's the best part. Like if you're not into the music, who cares? Just look at people. It's just
I don't know what band could get me to go back to the Shoreline now. Because I hate it so much.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. It's it's not so bad when you're there. It's not that bad. It's the getting there and leaving.
Yes, exactly.
It takes hours.
It's not public transportation friendly at all.
Mm-mm.
Either. You have to drive. It just really, really sucks. I was like, I'm trying to think of a band. I was like, maybe REM. Maybe I would go to Shoreline for REM because I loved REM. But
I would go for Oasis.
Yeah. Okay. I'd go for Oasis. I love Oasis.
Yeah.
By the way, if you buy tickets to Oasis, pay for that ticket insurance because you never know what those do.
That's gonna be a mess when they tour.
Like
those,
I would love to see them, but I have a feeling it's going to be too expensive. And
I saw them exactly once.
Me too.
And they were great, and they were on time, and they had fun, and yeah. So I didn't see any fighting or no nonsense. They had fun with it. But there I went to see that was in Staten Island. And for me, that's my whole thing now. Like I thought, take that fucking ferry out to Staten Island. No,
That's a lot of work.
it's too much work. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who maybe Taylor.
Oh yeah.
Taylor Swift is not gonna play a dinky little place like the Shoreline.
No, she would be here in the Bay Area. She would probably be playing like the Chase Center because we have this like brand new fancy basketball arena in San Francisco now, or the ballpark, which is amazing. I love
the Dead played there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great location. Like I love it there. What? Oh, okay. We're done. We're done with all that. What else are you dorking out about, my friend?
Real quick. So, Netflix has a documentary about the Zodiac. This is the Zodiac speaking. And did you see it?
No, it's on my list.
Okay. It's better than I thought it would be.
Okay.
And they name Arthur Lee Allen. And Arthur Lee Allen is like one of those suspects that gets a lot of play. He was in the Bay. This all happened in the Bay Area. I was living in the Bay Area at the time. There was when they were naming him as a suspect and they found him and he just looked like a dweeb. And you're just like, that's the killer. Like, that's the guy. Like, and nobody wants to think it was. And now they found this family that he lived with in the late 60s, early 70s. And apparently like they talk about time because he's been discredited as a candidate for like the Zodiac. I'm on the Reddit forum with Zodiac. Anyway, he's been discredited. Yeah, of course I am because I'm a weirdo. But but they have some really interesting overlap over like other. Yeah. So if you're into the Zodiac, it's better than I thought it would be, and I was into it. On Max, I we're saying that for Sonia's dog Max.
Max.
Penguin. I'm saying Penguin, right? That's I mix up Peacock and Penguin all the time. Like that, just my brain just does that. So
well, they're both birds that don't fly. So it's
exactly
fine.
Yeah. So I'm really enjoying Penguin. I kind of double up episodes, so I have 2 of them to go. Christina Milian, is that her name? She's amazing.
That's what I keep hearing. I was like, I should watch.
And I wasn't going to because I'm burnt out. But it's much more rooted in reality. It's like The Sopranos. It's The Sopranos, and it's just a little over the top with the violence, a little more over the top with the characterizations. But who's the person I'm thinking of? Who's the penguin?
Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell is fucking amazing. And I didn't appreciate the fat suit and everything in that Superman movie or the Batman, whatever the hell movie he was in.
The
Batman one. I was like, no, I wasn't into it. I'm totally into it here. And I think he should definitely be nominated for all the awards. He's really good.
All right.
And it's shot in Brooklyn. I know all these places they're shooting. I'm like, oh my God. Peacock, I told you to see this. Anatomy of Lies.
Oh my God. Why did I didn't write this on my list. I'm going to write it down so I don't forget. And we'll make sure that we mention it in the show notes that we watched Anatomy of Lies. Fascinating.
So interesting. I mean, this was based on a true story. There's a woman that was a head writer, executive producer for Grey's Anatomy and worked her ass off to become this. And then she shows up and she tells everyone that she has cancer and that she's bananas. And she says it's permanent, like it's a permanent condition that she has. She's not going to get over it. And so she's constantly writing about stuff and putting it in the script. And she's telling the people in her life that she has cancer and she's got all these treatments.
Yes.
And then she tells them that she's Jewish, and it was where I forgot about the horrible shooting at the synagogue in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, the Tree of Life synagogue in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Yeah.
Right. And she says, "Oh, I know people that were there." And so she flies out and tells everybody she's in the cleanup of the mess that's happening there. And then she says, then months later, she says she has PTSD from that. So she goes to a hospital in Phoenix to treat PTSD. And she falls in love with another woman. And this woman is escaping an abusive husband. And then she writes these traumatic things into the show. And she takes stories from the staff. And you and I are both writers.
Yeah.
And there is that thing of co-opting other people's stories into your story.
Yeah.
It's just what we do. It's not, we try not to. We try to be.
You could definitely be like inspired by somebody's story for sure. But her thing was there's people who were on the writing staff and she like kind of took their stories and it's like, no, that's for them.
They're traumatic stories and then put them into characters on the show. And she was so high up the chain, and it's all very triggering for me because I know friends that are writers on shows. Like, you have no power. Like, you just, and so and then turns out, and this was a Vanity Fair article that was released a couple of years ago. It turns out she never had cancer. Like all the time she shaved her head, she did all these things. Not true.
She faked having a port. She had like the tape on her chest to make it look like she had like a port. And I guess it her girlfriend or her then wife was like, yeah, she doesn't have a scar there. And she kind of like never thought about it. And I'm like, yeah, that scar doesn't go away. Like,
did you have a port?
Yeah, I had a port, and it's a scar that is there. And like the fact that she didn't have a scar is a huge giveaway that she never had a port. But she lied about everything.
Everything. And it's
bonkers.
The amount of distrust that she created among people, the way she used people and used their trauma and just did it to like create stories it's just unfathomable, and it's really well done. That's like you're just riveted when you're watching this thing
because and someone describes her, I think it's one of the writers on the show describes her as a trauma vampire. Like she takes other people's traumas and she just like sucks the life out of it and then makes it her trauma, and she's like, yes, that happened to me. And like she jumped in on the Me Too movement and made up a story about a director
Vampire Diaries.
That someone on Vampire Diaries sexually assaulted her. She said that her brother abused her. He probably didn't. She also said he died by suicide when he didn't. He's very much alive. Like, she takes like anything that anyone says around her and she's like, that happened to me but worse,
right?
And then writes about it. I had heard about the writer that like faked cancer. I didn't know any of the stuff about the woman she met in the hospital and married and then tried to like take her kids from her.
That poor woman who's like, who do I tell about this?
No one's gonna believe me.
I met someone in a mental hospital, escaping an abusive husband who tricked everybody and took the kids from her.
Yes.
Like, she had to fight for that. And then it's just unbelievable. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
It's kind of infuriating. Like, you're just going to be so angry, but really well done. The storytelling is super well done.
It is. It's really good. It's on Peacock. So
that's on Peacock too.
Yes. Speaking of Peacock, I watched. Do we want to talk about Real Housewives of Salt Lake City?
When do we not want to talk about Real Housewives of Salt Lake City? It's the best show on television.
Show is so good. It's
so good.
A show that like makes me go, what? And laugh out loud. It is the best. It's the best.
I laughed so hard. They brought back Mary, and Mary, so they're in Salt Lake City. Mary is a black woman in Salt Lake City, and and I say that just because there's not a lot of people of color.
Yes,
from we gather when they have group shots and they have like parties and stuff. You're like, wow, there's just a few.
And she's not Mormon. She runs.
She has some sort of evangelical church that she inherited from her grandmother. And when her grandmother died, she didn't leave it to her mother. She left it to Mary. And then Mary married that woman, her grandmother's second husband.
She married her
step grandfather.
And they have one son.
Robert Jr.,
Yeah.
who's a mess. And that part's super sad because
Yeah.
that kid is really not doing well. But anyway, she was kind of mean her first couple of seasons she was on the show. And then they brought her back. And I was one of the ones like, I'm not sure if we want Mary back. But Mary got a talking to and they told her what to do. And she's great. She's so much fun.
My favorite on the show right now. Like, just she's funny without even meaning to be, because she just says things. Like, I mean, she's pretty honest, you know. I mean, a lot of these ladies lie. Mary doesn't seem to lie. She just says what she thinks, and what she thinks might be fucked up, but she's not lying about thinking that. I don't know if that makes sense, but she's honest to a fault almost. But like the whole thing in this episode was Angie is Greek, and she makes that like her whole personality. And so they're having like it's her wedding her 25th
anniversary.
Her 25th wedding anniversary. And she's having like a mob wives theme because one time, Meredith said that she was in the Greek mafia. So now they're having a mob wives themed anniversary party. And like Mary shows up, and this other new wife that they bring on, Brittany, who is on and off again with Jared Osmond, one of the Osmonds. But she's not there with him because they have broken up right now. So she brings like another date, and Mary walks up to her current date and is like, "Hi, Jared, I'm Mary." And they're like, "This is Aaron." And she's like, "Oh, okay, whatever." And then she's like, "No, it isn't."
She's upset because she thinks they're lying to her.
She's like, "No."
And so then, like, they're pulling up pictures on the phone, like, "No, Mary, that's not," and they look exactly alike.
She's like, "No, that's the same guy."
Going on in that culture over there. So it's so I can't even begin to tell you guys. I laughed so hard.
I laughed out loud. She was
my
like,
next door neighbors asked me, like, "What were you watching last night?" Because I was howling.
She's like, "No, that's the same guy."
And then she sits on a couch because she's kind of ruminating, and she's sitting next to two very young teenage girls, and she just starts talking to them, and they have no idea what she's saying.
Yeah, she's like, "Well, that was quite a fight. I don't know if Heather and I are going to make up." And they're like, "Okay, then." Like, they're like, "I don't know."
And then she just looks at them, just goes, "Oh, women.
Women, what are you going to do?" Oh my, she's such a kook.
It's so fun.
It's so fun. And like, Jared Osmond is like such a villain.
Such a sleaze. He's so sleazy. And he's one of those guys that like keeps a lot of women on the line, but he won't commit to anybody. And because he's an Osmond, and in Utah, that's a big deal.
Yeah, that's
Johnny and Marie Osmond.
Royalty.
You know, if you heard of them, they're Mormon royalty. So he knows this about himself. So he's like, I don't know what he does for a living, but
I don't know.
But he talks like a sleazy 20-something guy. Like, and he doesn't, like Mystery trained him or something like that, how to talk to women, because he negs them, and then he's very manipulative. And then, so he's it's just great. Anyway, it's great. Just watch it.
Yeah. And there's a big argument. And at one point, like, the husbands get into it, and those dudes are usually friends. Like,
they're buds. Yeah.
Yeah. So for them to kind of get into it is like, oh shit, this is like really being like ramped up. And Peacock has also added finally the after show to.
I'm going to watch it. I haven't seen it yet. I'm going to watch it tonight.
Yeah. Apparently that's been on YouTube this whole time, and I didn't know that was a thing. And I don't know if I'll go back and watch anything, but I'm glad it's on Peacock because now I will watch it. And that is very entertaining as well, and highly recommend. I'm sorry, did I cut you off? What else is on your list?
No, that's it. I just wrote get out of your pants, but that's from the movie.
And Fred Ward is on our list.
R.I.P. I didn't know he died.
I know. I don't know how I missed that.
Bummer. It's during COVID. Some people passed and we didn't know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like we had shit going on.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched Smile for the first time, which is a horror movie that came out like 2 years ago, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It stars we just said her name. Sosie Bacon is the lead on that, and she's like, a counselor who works in a hospital, and a patient comes in and she's freaking out and talking about like there's this thing that is following her, and it's like wearing people as a mask, and it does this like really creepy smile. Like when it does the creepy smile, it means you're not yourself, basically. And it is a pretty creepy smile. It is one of those movies where she's crazy. She's not crazy because we know she's telling the truth, but she's trying to then convince other people that she's not crazy. And those kinds of movies could be very frustrating. So if you don't dig on that, then maybe this isn't for you. I thought it was just creepy enough to keep me entertained. But I heard the second one is really good, and Adam Risky really liked it. So I thought, well, I'll watch the first one and then maybe I'll go see the second one. And that is also on Peacock. So we're just Peacock money, please.
Take my money.
I also saw We Live in Time, which is the new romantic drama with Andrew Garfield and Florence Pugh. They are great in this. They have great chemistry. It's a stone cold bummer. I probably should have done a little bit more research before I saw it, because it's about like boy meets girl, girl gets cancer, girl decides to have a baby anyway, girl gets cancer again, tears ensue. And it's told out of order, which is another thing that kind of drives me nutso about movies. It's like, can you just tell the story straight? Like, I'm kind of tired of starting in the middle. And then they flash to the beginning, and then they show you something at the end, and then they go back to the beginning, and then they go to the middle, and then they go to the and I'm like, just tell me the story. Like, just tell me. This movie's fine. I'm sure it has big fans. I liked it fine. It made me cry. But the movie I really like this week is called ANORA, and it is written and directed by Sean Baker, and he is the same director who did Tangerine and The Florida Project. Have you seen The Florida Project? That seemed to be the one that most people have seen. I haven't seen either of these, but now I'm going to go back and watch them because I like this so much. This is about like girl, she's 23 years old and she works as like an exotic dancer, and like a young Russian guy comes in. He's like 21 and he speaks like broken English, but mostly Russian, and she understands Russian. So the owner of the club is like, go dance for him. And he likes her. Like, she speaks Russian, and he like, I don't know, he like invites her to like his house for a party, and then they just start fucking all the time, and then they get married, and it turns out he's very connected to like the Russian mob, and there's a lot of it filmed at Coney Island, so Margo's old current stomping ground too. And it's a dark comedy. There's some like tension in there, and there's some stuff that's kind of sad too, but it's mostly like almost like an anxious comedy. I don't know how else to describe it, as these like Russian mobsters are trying to make this couple annul their marriage before his like big, like his parents are super like Russian oligarchs or whatever, and they're coming in, and so there's just a lot of comedy and trying to make this happen. The lead is Mikey Madison, and she was in Better Things on FX. I don't know if you ever watched that. And she was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood as she's the woman who like breaks in at the end and they like set her on fire. In that movie, do you remember?
No.
Is her name Squeaky? Is she playing Squeaky from the Manson girls? Anyway.
Oh, Lynette Fromm?
Yes. Yeah. The actress is Mikey Madison. She's very, very good in this. I really, really liked it. I recommend. So apparently it won some awards at the Cannes Film Festival. So if people care about that sort of thing, it's something that I recommend. I think that's everything on my list. Also, everyone should listen to Margo on the Daily Fail.
Thank you. I forgot to write that down. Yes, I was on the Daily Fail podcast. Our friend Kristen Meinzer hosted it, and we talked about a few different things. Go check it out. It's a really fun show, and it's based on the Daily Mail. They call it the Daily Fail because the Daily Mail is trash.
Oh, so much of our media is trash right now.
No shit.
Yeah, we're having a whole thing over here with some of our biggest newspapers that don't want to endorse presidential candidates because they're cowards. But surprise, billionaires are cowards. What are you going to do? And if you like the sound of our voices, we also co-host a podcast called What a Creep. And this week we're doing some Halloween related stuff where we had all of our listeners from Creep tell us about people who who try to ruin Halloween for everybody, I should say. They don't successfully do it, but they try. And so we had a really good time, like talking about the jerks who give out toothbrushes and apples.
And, boxes of raisins, or, towns that have age limits on trick-or-treating, all of those things. So definitely check it out. It's a fun one this week. And then we end every episode with someone who's not a creep. So it's very fun. And Margo, where can people find you on the internet? You can find me at brooklynfitchick.com. I'm at brooklynfitchick for Threads and Instagram. I'm at Brooklyn Margo for TikTok and Twitter, as long as that exists. But that's also dicey at this moment. And I'm on YouTube at Margo Donahue.
I was just going to say that. Everyone should go subscribe to her channel. She's